Hey gamers, Maniac here with GameXS.net, coming at you live from the Gears of War 4 multiplayer beta. My intention was to do more live streaming of this beta. Unfortunately, that did not come to pass. While I try to get this beta running on Twitch, latency issues as well as severe stability issues on either Twitch's end or Xbox One's end, ending with a very, very hard system crash, and then followed up by serious matchmaking issues preventing me from doing live streams of this. I really don't want to stream this game right now until I'm convinced that these issues are resolved. That having been said, Gears of War 4 multiplayer beta is now open. If you have yourself an Xbox One and an active Xbox Live Gold subscription, you can participate in this beta, and I totally recommend you do so. The reason why is because anybody that participates in this beta, and even though ranking is going to be reset after the beta concludes, if you can make it to rank 20 in this beta or higher, you will actually be able to unlock exclusive items for multiplayer goodies and things like that in the full retail title once it comes out. So just be aware of that. It would be a really good deal for you to investigate into that thing. How do I feel about the controls for this game? They feel pretty much identical to the other Gears of War games. If you've played previous Gears of War titles, and I have, you're pretty much going to feel exactly the same way. All the buttons on the Xbox One controller are exactly where you remember them from the Xbox 360 controller. Nothing really has changed here. Aiming, shooting, weapon selections is all pretty much in the exact same spot. Now, when it comes down to the feel of the game itself, well, there's a lot to say about that. The movement feels exactly the same. Running, strafing, ducking, taking cover, aiming, all pretty much has not changed one bit. However, there does seem to be a couple of issues with performance. While the graphics in this game look absolutely phenomenal, this is probably the best looking, and you can see here, just look at these great graphics. While this is definitely the best looking Gears of War game I've ever seen, there are still issues with performance. There are drop frames, as you can see here. Oh my god. VSync issues, issues with drop animation frames with my teammates. I don't know if that's a latency issue. I really can't comment. But they were, nevertheless, important enough for me to be able to mention here. The weapons that you remember, like the Lancer, the Gnasher, the rocket launcher, the torque bow, those are all back. And there's a bunch of new weapons that you're going to be able to enjoy. But don't be worried about latency when it comes to Lancer runs, because as you're just about to see here, that's right, E-button Lancer duel battles are back. And that's not the only thing that's back, actually. You're going to remember being able to take down your opponents with finishing moves. All of that is back as well. While I prefer to take down my, anybody that I've downed with bullets from a distance, you're definitely going to want to be able to take full advantage of the Y for very longer and more elaborate finishing moves, or a simple B to bring down your opponent. You're going to notice finishing moves are probably going to have a different animation depending on what weapon you're holding, but they're a lot of fun to play around with, so be aware of that. Now, a couple of things I really want to mention before we get started. There are going to be 3 new modes in multiplayer that you're going to have access to in the beta. The first is a standard team deathmatch, which is exactly what it sounds like. 5-on-5, all online players. The second is a new mode called Dodgeball, which functions in a completely different type of spawning system. Whereas if you are playing in a dodgeball match and you are down, you don't respawn unless one of your teammates takes down another enemy. So that's important to keep in mind. Second thing, the third and final game mode, which you're going to notice here, is a type of cooperative multiplayer deathmatch where you spawn with 4 other multiplayer players on a 5x5 team deathmatch, but all of your opposing team is actually AI controlled. And in the beta, their AI difficulty is actually set quite high. So we're just about hitting the end of this match. While I'm about to try to get this rocket launch, let me tell you a little bit about the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which was just announced today. Microsoft just broke news about this. Gears of War Ultimate Edition is a $100 US collector's edition for the game. It's going to be released 4 days earlier than the normal retail game, so be aware of that. The cool thing about it is, even though it's going to be included with a steelbook, the extra $40 premium will guarantee you the Gears of War 4 Season Pass. So if you're interested in picking up the Gears of War 4 Season Pass, which is going to have a lot of cool goodies about it, pick up the Ultimate Edition because that'll be included. Until next time, guys, my name is Maniac.